how to install the rear top fender on Harley. It is a street glide or road glide. You want to make sure everything's clean. Your hands, the fender, make sure all the dust is knocked down. Keep everything good and wet. Your hands are wet. You want to take the piece of the kit, figure out how it lays on there. So position it so you are familiar with how the thing's going to lay. Make sure and spray the material and your hands. And you're going to go ahead and peel a bit back and spray again. You want to make sure and keep spraying the material as you peel it back, because the adhesive that you are revealing on the bottom is kind of like a magnet. So any dust in the air will stick right to that. As well as you don't want anything touching it dry. You don't want your fingers to be dry. You don't want the material to touch itself. Now that it's wet, you know, if it for some reason it folded over onto itself, it won't stick. But if you do that dry, you're pretty much done. So make sure everything's wet. Keep it wet as you're peeling. Your hands wet, the fender wet. Just the wetter the better. So then, go ahead and lay the piece on. On this, you're going to basically start up here where the bolt lays, and there's a little notch in the material where that goes, and then you want to go ahead and center the material down towards the license plate here. When everything's centered, then you go ahead and start squeegeeing out the liquid right up here at the top, okay? Don't do anything down below, just the top right now. Because what we're gonna do to get these fingers, these are called fingers, to get these out, we're gonna have to stretch it. So we're gonna go ahead and anchor this up here, so you kinda, just this top 2 or 3 inches, we're gonna squeegee everything out, make sure that that looks really good, and then we'll move towards the rest. If you find that your material is sliding while you're doing this, then you have too much soap in your slip mixture, okay? But right now it's tacked down, it's not moving, we're good. Sometimes if it won't stick, if it's cooler temperatures, you want to ideally do this above 70. You don't want to try and install this stuff much below 60. It's just, it makes it more difficult to tack down. Also, you don't want to do it out in the sun where it's 100 degrees, especially on a black bike, because the liquid will dry out quicker than you can get it squeegeed out. So that's all anchored at the top. So again, make sure everything's good and wet, because we're going to lift this and we don't want to draw in any dust underneath. So make sure the surrounding area is all wet. Just going to make sure that's good and wet underneath. Now we're going to take the alcohol mixture and just maybe the bottom inch of this piece here and the bike, we're going to go ahead and spray that with alcohol, so that when we pull this down to get these fingers out, that will just automatically tack down. It won't retract and come back. So you just press it down, and as you see when we pull it, those fingers along here disappear. So all we're doing is just basically that center piece, we're moving down. And as you move it down, hold on, let me hit it with the alcohol one more time. So then we'll pull it down and go ahead and squeegee that. There. And you see how I kind of held it a little further back so that can give you a place to squeegee. If you put your fingers all the way at the edge, your fingers will be the squeegee and you'll tack down little fingerprints. So you just kind of hold it in here while we stretched out these fingers until we got that down where we could squeegee out the alcohol. So now that's anchored on top and bottom. So now we can go ahead and just make sure it's good and soapy on top. And now it's just a matter of squeegeeing out all this soap. And you can't squeegee back through where you've anchored. So you don't want to try and chase things through this, because they'll stop right here. It's like a wall. So you squeegee away from the anchored areas, with overlapping strokes so you don't leave anything. And I'm just kind of going down the center. And then same thing, we come up the center. And where those meet, then you can go ahead and divide it. Okay, so now the whole strip through the center is completely squeegee down. Again, you want to keep, make sure that the top is wet so that your squeegee slides easy. And now it's just a matter of bringing all this out to the edge. And don't worry quite yet if it isn't laying down on the edges. If you have little, like I said, what we call fingers, these little fingers, don't worry about that yet. We're just mainly trying to get everything off of the top of here. So that looks real good. Now what we're going to do is, with the alcohol mix, we're just going to go along that edge. So kind of same concept as anchoring. That will make the adhesive tack down really aggressively. So on those edges, they won't lift back up. And then you're just going to go along and again, squeegee each of those fingers out. And then go ahead and take a dry towel. Starting in the middle, you want to come outward. You don't want to press inward because you might pick up that edge and then you'll have pieces of yellow fuzz stuck to the bottom of your film. So start in the middle, just almost like this is a squeegee. You treat it like a squeegee, and you're just moving out, make sure that those edges are dry. And now on the other side, kind of the same concept. We're just going to go outward. Make sure and overlap. Don't start way out here because you don't want to leave anything out in the middle. And even some of these fingers that we have on this outer lip, they may seem big, but they're fine. As we go ahead and squeegee those down. There we go. Sorry, bumping the camera there, making you guys move around a little dizzy. There we go. And again, from the center, we're going to push out and over that lip. And that is protected.